Alright, hey everyone, welcome back to more Plush and Bad, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of a sillier video, because I feel like a lot of our recent videos have been a little bit more like competitive focused or whatever. But today I have for you a Oscilio 2 meme deck. So the original inspiration for this list was from Melora from our Discord, who also did our kind of like intro music and stuff. So she has put together this like kind of fatigue Bowlander Oscilio list that's running like Tap Lessons Pass, Save the Thought, as kind of like a combo to kind of like have this like really cool like end game. Lots of like niche like generic utility cards, and then just kind of like some big attacks also to kind of combo with it. So like this is like a very cool list. I think it does like a lot of like really powerful things, just like being like a very defensive deck that also has a lot of like kind of interesting like offensive overlap with like burn bears and the comet storm sharks and stuff like that. Yeah, so this list is I think like really cool. It was kind of like the inspiration for the list I have for you today. So my list I think is like a little bit more kind of on the arcane front. So this is basically just a kind of mono arcane Oscilio list that's kind of trying to do like more of a fatigue arcane thing, as opposed to like kind of like this back and forth with like the big attacks, and then also like the arcane damage as well. So for this list, it's going to be running like a lot of the kind of like more like arcane focused cards like Burn Bear, Indian Surge. Indian Surge is mostly just like kind of like a value card. I kind of think of this as just like a 0 for 4. It's pretty solid. And then also running the Tap Lessons Past and Save the Thought combo. So Save the Thought, it's basically like Remembrance, and that you can shuffle a bunch of non-attack action cards from your graveyard in your deck, and it also makes Ponder tokens. So what this means is like you can kind of like get these like 5-card hands in the late game where you're like continuously able to play like Save the Thought, block with 2 cards, and then do like Save the Thought into like Tap Lessons Fast. It's kind of like the combo here. So you get to send like Tap Lessons Fast for 5. If your opponent's running like 83 or something, you can basically like just chip in 2 damage every turn, and you can use the Tap Lessons Fast to basically buy back the Save the Thought, which is kind of like the funny combo. And yeah, to kind of support that, it's basically just like all a bunch of instance and prevention and life gain to kind of like just kind of pad the life total just to kind of get to that point. So this list is like fairly oppressive in terms into like slower decks or like more reactive decks that don't really have the kind of like go wide potential to actually like kind of get over it. But I think it like actually is kind of like an interesting deck. Like it's almost like an anti fatigue deck in a kind of a similar way to maybe like Arachne Huntsman was. So yeah, this deck is really cool. Again, I took a lot of the inspiration from this deck from Melora's list. So I'll link this one also in the description, because I think this one I think is also really good when I was playing it. But yeah, I think we're gonna go ahead and try to get some games with my list, which is also running like a lot of kind of funny cards. Unyielding Grip is often just like a 3 block, because you're able to like kind of dump your hand with how many instants are in this deck. There's like a lot of really cool like interesting synergies in this deck, and like it almost feels like the win con is like kind of like this weird non-deterministic thing where you can like save the thought back like other threats in the deck, like Burn Bear maybe, if you want to like just close the game with Storm Striders, or you can get like a strike twice to just go like a little bit wider. So hopefully I'll be able to kind of like give you a game to kind of like showcase that. But this deck has like a lot of like weird non-deterministic win cons, which is kind of what makes it a little bit fun. So yeah, with anyways, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the games. Great. Playing against a Marionette. So I think this is probably a matchup where we want to bring in all our D reacts. I feel like which is most matchups. Let's maybe bring in like 1 Save the Thought, and then we can do like 1 of our red Tap Lessons Pass. Wait, do we have a second Tap Lessons Pass? Oh yeah, we do. Okay, cool. So just running a nice clean 70 into Marionette. Hopefully this will be good. Oh, we do have the Fiddlers to start out though, which is kind of fun. This is such a griefer deck. This is not a deck for actually creating fun games. This is basically just the D-React deck. But I think there's like some cool parts about this deck, I guess. In the sense that we get to run like Unyielding Grip, which is kind of hilarious. I've actually been able to use this like fairly regularly, it feels like. I go ahead and just prevent that as well. Okay, Scar Tissue as well, sure. I just fate that on top. I think we do want to like kind of keep the blue, because we can maybe just like follow up with the Burn Bear. Right, into a Meat Madness. So I think we can just probably block this. I guess I kind of like regret popping the Scour now, but it shouldn't really matter too much. Prevented the flick, which is important. We also get to start the game at 41, which is kind of nasty. Not too shabby. Oh, I need to fix my card. 1 second. Let me just adjust the little boundary on that. That's looking a little bit better. Okay, so starting the game at 41 seems pretty good. Can't complain. I guess here we can just kind of like follow up with the Burn Bear. Seems decent. I've heard this is a pretty good card. I was actually debating if there's like any way that I could fit like Turn to Mindfire in the deck, but the 2 block I feel like was a bit awkward. And the Burn Bear just having like 1 extra stat on it, I feel like was a little bit too powerful. Okay, Kiss of Death coming in for 10. We do have the Oasis in Arsenal, so I kind of almost just want to like throw the hand in front of this. Even theoretically give them like the Unyielding Grip, but I guess we do want to like pitch to Consign to Cosmos. So maybe we'll just leave it like this, I guess. I think we will like let them flick and get the mark. Okay, they do have a T-Toxin, it's pretty good. So I think they are going to be able to get over here, but it's still just Oasis. I think it's kind of reasonable to expect that we're going to take a little bit of damage here. But we don't really have any cards in hand, so they can't really disrupt us, I guess, here. Plus, we were able to get the Overcrowd in the bin, so their codexes are a lot less good. So we'll go ahead and just pass it right back. By the way, I think Strike Twice is like kind of in the deck. I kind of want to just like an extra card to like go wide if we ever do manage to like get tempo back, which I think like is like semi-reasonable. All right, what do we want to do here? I think we're just gonna like keep on blocking while the blocking is good here. Maybe you want to try to actually like Arsenal the Oasis. All right, coming with a stain, sure. I think we'll just like take a little bit of damage here and see what they kind of do next. All right, just falling into a leave, no, sure. So we'll go ahead and Arsenal the Oasis, I think, for next turn. Combos kind of nicely with like the sutures in the deck and stuff. Also combos really well with just like the 0-cost cloud covers. You can go like Plutonic Starplate, make a resource cloud cover, and then play out the Oasis, which is kind of goofy, but does kind of work. Right, coming in for 1 with the Bonds of Attraction, I think that's fine. Probably just go ahead and give them cloud cover plus Oasis, assuming that they buff this, which looks like they have the Justinic. Oh, they have double Justinic. Okay, that's kind of terrifying. Sure. Oh, and take up the mantle. Jesus. Okay, that's a lot of reactions there. Sure. So we can still kind of do this, right? It's like a little bit less good, but it's still like kind of fine. Sure. I think it still like kind of works out. And then we can just like play out the Burn Bear Arsenal tap, I guess. Doesn't seem too bad. They do get to banish a lot from the top of my deck, which is like a bit concerning. So they are having like a pretty decent like life lead here, and they also get a bit of deck value as well. Right, banishing the Overcrowded. That's actually kind of I guess we have a second Overcrowded, so it's not that bad. But maybe they're gonna try to like banish the other one too, which would be like a little bit scary. Fortunately for us, they don't have their dagger, which is probably maybe a bit good for us. Okay, they're gonna buy it back though. Unfortunate. I guess I spoke a little bit too soon. Notably, this deck like just does have a lot of ways to like buy back daggers, so I feel like we're probably like overdue for that maybe. All right, coming in with Kiss of Death for 7. I don't want to block this. I think do I have a flow generation, which is like a little annoying right now. But we can also just like pitch the Ominous Arsenal, the Enion Surge for next turn. Now what are we getting back with Ominous? Maybe like a cloud cover or just like an Oasis randomly. It seems like kind of fine. Go ahead and just give him 3 block here. Alright, they want to go again here. What does that mean? I'd use Fate to stop a little bit of damage here, which I think is reasonable, but I'm like mildly concerned that they're just going to go like leave no or CNC. They were supposed to take a little bit of damage here. Take 5. And we can just save the Fate for whatever they do next. Okay, that seems reasonable. Didn't really want to pop like the Storm Striders there in case they did follow up with a leave no. Okay, they're flicking as well. Interesting. Oh, flicking the Kiss, right. Makes sense to me. Alright, go on Fate. Flow side is good, but I'm mildly concerned about dying. I think we probably just keep it on top though. Art is pretty decent. The flow generation is like mostly in the deck just to kind of like smooth out a couple hands, and pondering also like making a ponder token like draw into D-Reacts is actually kind of powerful. Let's go and put an Oasis back in the deck, and then we can just like arsenal the Indian Surge. Okay, this hand's a little awkward, especially given the Saber Bloodshed. But I guess we can use like the mental block to actually kind of prevent the dagger here. Notably, I guess if they attack with the Hunter's Clip first, then we have to like block whatever they do next, which is a bit awkward. So I think we can maybe just like Static Shelter here. Or I guess we still have to like take even more damage, which is like really, really painful. I mean, we could just like dump hand and then just like throw the Unyielding Grip in front of this, but then that also like buffs the clay, which is kind of awkward. I don't really want to take another 9, but like maybe we're supposed to. Feels weird. Because we do have to like block whatever they send next is the big issue. To deal with the Saber Bloodshed here. Alright, we're dropping the 10, I think. But hopefully you can kind of claw back a little bit here. Alright, so follow up with the static. I think we will go ahead and just make a flow here since there's not much we can do the rest here. Okay, another T-Tox. That's not good. So get the full block there. Yeah, maybe I was supposed to just throw everything in front of the dagger. That's unfortunate. So you can prevent 2 here. They do get to draw a card. Alright, Orb Weaver into Mark the Black Widow. So I guess we can like just dump the flow slides here. I feel like the double flow slide was maybe a little bit of bad timing. Oh, actually, hold on. Sorry, we should Volzar one of those. This might Volzar. Alright. So we play this one, sure. Volzar, play the other one. Alright, and we do at least get to cash in the Unyielding Grip, which is like better than nothing, I suppose. Game was kind of like a little bit weird because we like saw our flow generation all at the same time and it was kind of a bit late. So let's go ahead and tap, make a flow. So we're at 4 flows now, which is good. If we can like ponder into a D-React, which is really, really nice, then I feel a little bit more comfortable about us staying alive. But we do have a lot of work in order to try to claw this game back here. So we can like discard the Suture, play it, and then like use the Oasis to strike twice, or alternatively we can even just like cast the Oasis, which are both kind of reasonable. I think let's go ahead and pass here. The nice part about Suture and Strike Twice is that the Suture damage can actually kind of turn on the Strike Twice, which is kind of cool. And then we still have the Shelter and Arsenal to kind of soak up any random damage. Alright, so let's go ahead and Suture, and then we'll Volzar it. Notably, they are out of AB, so if we can like cheese them with Storm Striders, that's also potentially a path to victory. We have seen 2 T-Toxes out of the way, which is pretty good. Alright, seems like our opponent maybe wants to go ahead and flick here. We could also Oasis this if we wanted to. Maybe we were supposed to actually do this while the paint in the backside was like not on the chain. Maybe that was like the better play. But we'll go ahead and let them have the flick here. One other thing we can do is actually pop our third eye of the Sphinx to just crack our ponder immediately. And if we draw into like a card that we can use to pitch, we could actually play both the Oasis and the Strike Twice here. So I kind of actually like doing that. Let's see if we can maybe gamble into a blue, and that's actually perfect. So now we can do both Oasis and the Strike Twice. All right, sure, take up the mantle. So let's go for Oasis, gain a life. So you do get to like full prevent this basically. And then do we even want to throw the shelter on top of it, or do we just want to let it kind of sit here? Take 2, we get to sit on the reactant arsenal. I guess that's not bad. I guess we can see if they want to do anything in response here, but we functionally go to 2, they're at 16. And then we still have like Storm Striders. So maybe this is fine. Go ahead and just prevent the rest of the damage here. I guess they could have some other follow-up attack here. Maybe that was like an incentive to block. Cut from the same cloth. Okay, into graphene. So that will put us to 1 exactly, but we're not technically dead. We're just very, very close to dead. I guess we can maybe even give up the third eye of the Sphinx at this point. Maybe just try to stay at 2 so we're not immediately in flick range. Surprisingly close. I do think I definitely made quite a few misplays this game, which is fine. We're learning a new deck. A new deck that is like probably not a very good deck, but I think we're still like kind of in this game. So let's go ahead and Oscilio and then play out the Suture this turn. And we'll do all this before the Persuasive actually goes on the chain, so we can also prevent any flick here. So let's see what they got. Currently going Stains into Jestedic. Okay, so we can still cover this, I think, right? I know, it's going to be leaking 1 over, which is still fine. So we can throw the Fate on this. It's probably fine for them to banish. I don't really care too much about Indian Surge. All right, they flick, that's fine. Still play out the Sigil. So they're still coming over for 2. They get to banish our Indian and a Warmongers. So we're still kind of staying alive here. I feel like the Justinics are actually doing them a lot of favors this game. But we're also potentially setting up a pretty good ponder. Oh, if we ponder into Suture, that's very, very good for us. We're like surprisingly holding on this game for how aggressive I think their opener was. Let's go and block. I think just with the ripple away. And I feel like this is why the flows are so important, because it does just turn on like your random effects like your Sutures. And then what do we want to do with this hand? I think we still maybe just want to play out the Suture here. But the awkward part is like the cloud cover also kind of wants to get played so that we can just get an instant in the bin. All right, they're playing out their own sigils, sure. This is fine. Okay, they're just passing here. I think we just like let them pass. Yeah, it seems okay. Now we can just go ahead and tap back. Probably just an Oasis here. We can even tap back a Suture. Which one's better? I guess Suture is technically like a little bit more flexible. Oh, and we have the heart as well. Nasty. Save the Thought is being like a little bit awkward here. I wonder if you actually even need like the one of Save the Thought into these more like aggressive matchups. You probably don't. We can actually like play out most of our hand here. We just need to make sure we're not like dying. So let's go ahead and just maybe block with our static shelter here. I think we can afford to make a flow, right? All right, they flick, and then suture the flick. Choose a target. We can like discard the save the thought. And then fulls are. Alright, so now the flick applies. We're still floating through prevention. And then they currently have no daggers, which I think is pretty big for us. We still block with this like nebula duality here, and then we can just like kind of let the save the thought go. Is kind of my idea. Not really like a super strong incentive to play it. I mean, I guess we like might as well though, right? If they're only presenting one, they've used all of their just to mix. Like, what do they even have at this point? They could have like just random stains of the red back or like something like that. Take up the mantle. Doesn't like kill us though, I don't think, unless they have like double D-react of some kind. I think we're I don't think we die from this. It's my guess. Like, I feel like this is maybe just like stains into something else. All right, stains into whittle. I guess that makes sense. So we can just go to 2 here, or alternatively we can play out the save the thought. I feel like the double ponder is like semi-relevant though, and we do get a bit of deck density back. So maybe this is fine to let through. I think I'm okay dropping to 2, especially when they have no daggers. So we can get back maybe like red tap, blue tap, and maybe like a burn bear randomly. Maybe like strike twice is a little bit better. Keep the fatigue engine going, I suppose. All right, we're doing our best here to stay alive. We want to keep the suture in hand so that you can discard it to Oscilio. And then sink below is a decent arsenal. Okay, we're finally like drawing back into our prevention. Our opponent's kind of running out of steam, so I think we actually might kind of clutch this game out here. Okay, double trouble could be annoying, but again, no daggers I think is really good for us. So go ahead and just pass and see what they do. Let's go ahead and start, I think, with the sink below here. I think we're gonna like sink just this Oasis and try to find something a little bit more relevant. I feel like blue is even decent here. So yeah, I think I'm okay with this. Go ahead and just play out our sigil. And we could even just like filter to Oscilio, but I don't even think that's super necessary. Maybe we'll just arsenal the static shelter here. Kind of just pad our life total a bit, kind of churn through the deck. Oh, we do draw our Ominous Respite too with our flows, which is also pretty nasty. Okay, seems like they maybe want to do something before the Codex there. Okay. So we do still have to worry about the last T-Tox here. So maybe the best play is to just kind of like suture this. Okay, there's scar tissue, sure. So let's go ahead and discard the suture, and then we can just play this out and pump it with Volzar. I'm like mildly concerned about the last T-Tox here, but I think we might still just be incentivized to throw the static shelter in front. So let's do that. I think denying the mark is like fairly relevant. Then we can just make an extra flow here, because we're probably just dumping the hand anyway here regardless. Play out the Ominous, pad the life total just a little bit here. The Ominous Respites are very funny in this deck. Very amusing. All right, let's go ahead and pass it back. So hopefully we can ponder into something that's a good threat here. Okay, Scour is not necessarily the best ponder target. We do know they have Codex in hand, so I think we're actually kind of incentivized to like not arsenal that so that we can get back like an Overcrowd or whatever. I feel like Overcrowd is such a good counter to Codex. They do have to pick up the point to kind of buy back their dagger here, so we should still be fine. I want to hold on to the tap lessons passes. That's our last one, and we did play the save the. So maybe we're just gonna block with the consigned Cosmos here. Might have to end up blocking with this anyways, but we'll make an attempt at least to kind of hold on to it. And I think we can probably just let a little bit of damage go through. They get to mark us, it's fine. Okay, T-Tox. So now I guess we're incentivized to maybe try to sync this. They did have a Codex, though. Did they play that out, or did they Arsenal it? Funny thing we can do here is actually just like Storm Striders in response to the Codex and then get back picking Overcrowded. And just make sure we're resolving our tap lessons past. So yeah, we might as well just go ahead and pop in now. And I guess we can even just Volzar it. It's kind of funny. Notably, we can also even make a Ponder token here, which I think might even be relevant. So let's go ahead and get back. Do we need to save the thought at this point? I feel like Suture is probably going to do a decent enough job here. Then we can just get back an Overcrowded block here. And the Overcrowd's blocking 5, so if they do... Did they put the Death Touch in the bin? They might have pitched the Death Touch, right? So we shouldn't have to worry about Death Touch. I think it's just Leave No is like the main thing we're concerned with, right? Kind of a funny game. We were like losing super badly, and then we just kind of managed to draw into our good cards and kind of call out the game back a little bit here. I'm almost wondering if they don't even like attack in at this point. Like maybe they just try to save that for next turn or something. Okay, we're gonna tap ourselves. Oh, we can't Oscilio because we are tapping ourselves, right? So we can't actually make a Ponder token here. That's still okay. All right, get back the Overcrowded. And now the onus is on them to kind of figure out how they're going to kill us with kind of limited resources here. Ooh, Fiddler's Green, also a very nice draw. I guess they do get to buy back their other dagger, which is maybe like mildly annoying for me. And then how many codexes do we see? We still have 2 codexes left. So we're kind of just incentivized to, I feel like, throw our hand in front of most things, right? I guess we can like block 9 here. And then we can save this Fiddler's Green for maybe the other dagger if they want. If they do Codex us, we just like discard the green. I think that seems reasonable. Just want to check our hand in front of this so that we're not leaking too much damage. Again, I think they're almost at the point where they're kind of out of their quote-unquote like buffs, right? So we just gotta kind of live long enough to see that point. Okay, Command and Conquer is a good one. So we're gonna take 5, but regain 3, so we're going to 6. Still feels relatively okay here. I feel like I hopefully demonstrated, at least in this matchup, why I think a little bit of flow generation is important, just because like getting the Ponder generation and just like the incidental value I think is quite good. You don't want like too much. Like I'm still like a little bit hesitant even on these like flow slides, but I think like just like a small amount, like a little tasteful amount of flow generation is pretty helpful. Okay, so we're gonna let them probably have the Flick here. What does Flick do for them? I guess we also have like one more Take Up the Mantle we're worried about. It's still being a little bit of danger here. But we'll see what they have. Could very well be dead here. Still have that one T-Tox that we also have to worry about. All right, Orb Weaver. Ooh, Schism of Chaos could actually end up being really good for us here. Getting us a Tome of Quandaries. Okay, it's probably not the best hit, but like is maybe fine. I guess we can like play it out. But T-Tox will kill us here, unfortunately. I don't think there's even a way that I can play around it, which is fine. I feel like we've kind of maybe deserve to lose this one. That being said, our opponent's been playing pretty well, I think. Okay, they have another Codex, sure. So we can Bolzar play out the flow side. We're still not like really dead here, right? We're definitely dead till Spike with Blood Rod. I've never seen this art before. It's kind of crazy. Okay, go ahead and block another. I believe it's 1, 2, 3. I believe it's still 5 here, right? Which will clear the mark, which means that they are able to like flip into one of the Arachnes, which I guess is good for us. Yeah, let's go ahead and hope to draw into some goodies here. All right, strike twice and overcrowded. So I think we'll Arsenal and strike twice in hopes that we can maybe just like ping them to death. And oh my god, do we have lethal? So we have 1, 2, 3. I think this is lethal, right? Unless they have some random. Well, they do have sigil in the deck. So the question is, do we have to be concerned about the other 2 sigils? The one of sigil is like fairly random. Like that almost makes me think that they have more, but I could be wrong. So the question is like, can we stay alive if we go for sync and then just like see what they do next? I think that seems reasonable. If they do try to like pressure us with like a T-Tox or something, then maybe we do just commit and say like, just try to kill them. So we're not gonna sync here. We're gonna try to keep the whole hand. I think this is lethal unless they have something random like a sigil or something else. So you can also flick here. So I guess we have to kind of commit here, I think. Yeah, I think so. So let's go ahead and just let them have it here. So we can, okay, I guess they're not even going to do anything in response. Interesting. I guess they'll draw off the Saber, so we probably want to do something in response to that. So let's go ahead and discard this Consign to Cosmos, which will let us play out the Shock, right? Can do this. Play out the Shock, which will make a resource. And then we can Duality, and then strike twice for lethal. Kind of a crazy game. Like, we were super low for the longest time, and then they just, like, kind of petered out at one point, and then we kind of clutched it, which is, I think, like, kind of what this deck wants to be doing. It's, like, it's very much like you have to kind of, like, force your opponent to kill you, and then you kind of, like, just, like, kind of, get through their initial kind of, like, damage turns, and then once they start, like, kind of sending more, like, mid-turns, then you can kind of capitalize on it with, like, the more arcane damage stuff. So that's kind of what the deck is supposed to be doing. But yeah, again, this is kind of like a little bit of like a slop or troll deck. So let's try to get kind of like a variety of matchups, just kind of see kind of like how this deck works. But I think like there's like kind of something here. Like it feels definitely a bit different from like the normal like Oscilio one, where like he's just trying to do like yeah, either like the Briar thing with like Gona Flash or doing like the combo, or he's trying to do like the big tall arcane thing. It kind of feels like there's this weird fatigue Oscilio variant that I think is like kind of a puzzle that I think is maybe kind of interesting. But yeah, let's go ahead and get another game. All right, it's playing against an Oscilio, so we don't actually know which variant of Oscilio is, but let's actually maybe just go first, I guess. Mainly so we can set some prevention here, and I think we'll bring in like one safe thought like we did last time. I don't know if we need the D-Rex though. Maybe Shelter's like okay, just for prevention into the other kind of like go tall Oscilio. I think that seems reasonable. And maybe we'll kind of hedge for that and just bring in like one Save the Thought. I think it should probably be enough. I think the double Save the Thought is more for like super fatigue matchups is kind of how I envisioned it. So this looks like they're on more Greaves combo. Okay, so this should be fine for us. Let's go ahead and flow slide. They're gonna cycle a Flash Bolt here, sure. And then we can go ahead and just pump up this Enion Surge. This is also why I really like Enion Surge. It's just like a little bit of incidental flow generation. A lot of times it's just like a nice little 0 for 4. And then we'll go ahead and see what they do kind of end a turn here. It might even just like, it's just Warmongers if they deal us like a little bit of damage. But we do have to be a little bit concerned about getting, oh my god. Okay, I guess they're actually the Fatigue Oscilio, my bad. All right, triple Sigil is pretty funny. Sure. All right, so I guess we're both on now an even playing field, which is kind of hilarious. I think that's a pretty good opener, triple Sigil of Solace. All right, we'll see if we can beat the triple Sigil Solace opener. Hilarious. All right, they're gonna hit us with a Sigil of Aether, sure. All right, into a Comet Collision plus the Uplift. So fortunately for us, we do have like a lot of prevention in the deck, so I'm not too concerned about this. Let's. I know we want to best pay for this. I think we do want to AB some amount here. I think we're gonna like end up pitching like one of these Onion Surges, is my guess. All right, let's go ahead and play out. Or I guess we like Oscilio discard the Toma Quandaries. Hold on. I think I'm maybe like overcooking this turn, but I feel like there's maybe something interesting we can do here. So we play out the Toma Quandaries. Then we like third eye pitch here to like draw. Okay, we draw like a flow side. I think that's like semi-reasonable. I guess it does make our Onion a bit awkward. Maybe I didn't want to do that. But that's fine. God, it's unfortunate that the Lightning Flows don't have Spell Void in this matchup, which would also be kind of sick. But at least we, I guess, turn on our Star Plate, which is kind of funny. So I guess we can even just Volzar this. So he still gets like AB1 here, which is kind of hilarious. That was kind of like a weird sequence, but I'm here for it. All right, we do still have to be a little bit concerned about their Sigil Aether popping, but I guess we could just chip in here with like 3 arcane damage. The nice part is like their armor is like functionally useless against us, except for like the Greaves and Old Knocker. So let's go ahead and just pay for a little bit of the arcane damage here. So this is the more like Briar variant, so we do have to be like a little bit more cautious here. Because they are going to beat us down pretty quick. But good opportunity to go and just use the Stack Shelter up here, I think. But again, we're going to try our best to kind of run them out of cards, but I think it is a little bit tough in this matchup. We'll see, though. They might have, like, boarded for fatigue, so maybe they're not really attacking it. Maybe they're going to have to, like, churn through the deck fairly fast. It's at least my idea. Huh. Oh, they're running Aether Flare in, like, a... Very interesting. They're running Aether Flare in, like, the more Briar variant as well, which is kind of interesting. I've, like, never seen that. It's like kind of a cool concept, though. Like, run Aether Flare as just, like, a good card. I can see it. Let's go ahead and just like Oasis this though. Target the flare. Okay, then we can just go ahead and AB3 on this Flash Bolt as well. Sure. I guess we like might as well just like AB1. I don't know. I think we'll go ahead and just tuck this Sigil and Arsenal for now. No real rush to play it out. Oh, it's Sigil of Temporal Manipulation as well. So this is weird because they're like doing. It feels like they're trying to be like the more spell Kano or like the spell Oscilio, but it's like a hybrid between the two decks. I've never actually like seen this before. It seems like they're running like it seems like they're doing like the Briar version of Oscilio, and then they like threw in like Aether Player and some of these other cards which are a bit wonky. Huh. Very weird. We do have a red Taplet since past here. Also have the Warmongers though, which might end up messing them up. I think I might just be trying to play out the Warmongers this turn. Don't think I have to be too concerned about losing the Tap Lessons Pass because they are cycling through the deck like fairly fast here. Like I think we can just probably end up fatiguing them just with our like kind of normal hand here. All right, go ahead and AB1 here. They are sending these big Comet Collisions though, so they're a little bit scary. Let's go ahead. I guess we can even like end up just like making a Ponder token here if we wanted to. Like discard this Oasis, play it out. Oh, we shouldn't have hold on. Sorry, we shouldn't have sigiled first. Let me see if we can go back. Let me go back like once here. Okay, so we do this first. We're gonna play out the Oasis so we get the extra life here on this comma collision, and then we can just like play out the sigil from Arsenal. Okay, there we go. Got our one extra little point of life there. All right, go ahead and just take 2, and then we can hopefully just Warmongers and kind of brick their turn here. Might end up being annoying if they're this like kind of weird hybrid between like the Briar and the Spellcilio. Let's go ahead and peace. They're definitely doing like Gone and Flash combo though, so like I don't know. Maybe they're doing like some weird kind of like hybrid, I guess. Okay, high voltage on an Echo Flash, or so we're still not taking like too much damage here. Okay, go ahead and just let this through. All right, pondering into a shelter, and we should be able to get value out of that. Even if they are more Spellcilio, we know that they are running like Gone and Flash combo. So it should be reasonable enough to kind of get the value there. Oh, this hand's like pretty good. We just get to go like 9 arcane damage. Seems decent. Not too shabby. So we get to hit in for a big chunk here, and then they're kind of gambling on this Sigil of Temporal Manipulation, which they might have like decent odds to hit here. Oh, especially if they do like a Future Sight. This deck is interesting. It kind of, I wonder if this is actually like blazing for lethals, like a Cilio deck. Maybe that's what this is. Maybe I've seen like some version of this deck around, but I don't actually know like fully what it is. Maybe the Entwined Lightnings are throwing me off. Maybe this isn't actually. Maybe this is like a Spellcilio that's just running like Entwined Lightning or something. Could be the case. They're gonna be able to pump these Aether Bindings for a huge amount though, so you gotta be a little bit careful. I mean, regardless, I think they're still running like Gone and a Flash combo here. Would make sense. And they do get to set up the sigils with the Sigil of Fate as well. It's looking like a pretty scary turn. And this Burn Bear is actually probably a little bit bad here. Could be better. Alright, so let's see what they hit off the Sigil of Temporal Manipulation here. Okay, it's a Cloud Cover. So they just like whiffed off the top. I guess they still get to go with this Aether Flicker though, but I don't. How good is this? Maybe this is actually good. Depends what they have in Arsenal, but I guess we do just get to kind of stop the majority of this with Suture. I think since we have an Arsenal, we can go ahead and even crack our third Eye of the Sphinx. Maybe just try to draw blue here. Blue would actually be helpful. Okay, Filler's Green. It's fine. We don't get to strike twice here, but we can just kind of pump into the AB. The next card you play with, so this isn't like Aether Wildfire, right? It only buffs their cards. So we can go ahead and Bullseye. Maybe just prevent this a little bit. Burn Bear hurting us, but not the end of the world here. I guess we do get to make a resource off the Suture as well to pay for the AB. So not too bad here. Let's go ahead and just AB2. I feel like that turn definitely could have gone a lot worse for us. All right, cycling the Flashbolt too. Very strange Oscilio deck here. All right, there's the Gone in a Flash. Cool. Figured that was coming at some point. But let's go ahead and just try to block this out as much as we can. All right, seems like they're not going for like the Gone in a Flash turn, just like a Gone in a Flash turn. Which makes sense to me. I want to just like Oscilio here just to get like a little bit of value. Get a lot of like random arcane pings, which I think is relevant. Just in terms of like chipping them down. And also like turns on our Unyielding Grip. We can go ahead and just suture this on as well. Okay, they have a cloud cover, sure. Not the end of the world for us here. Guess we can go ahead and AP1 just to leave a little bit more of that prevention floating. Oh, chromatic refinement, okay. So what I think this deck is maybe just like a spell Oscilio that also happens to be running Entwined Lightning. This may be what I think this is. Interesting build though. Seems like it's doing some strong things. Like lots of cards that like kind of produce this offensive overlap, I guess. I'm playing out Echo Flash as well. Sure. Still not doing too badly here though. Nebula Duality is probably not the best arsenal here. Let's go ahead and just skip. A little bit of an unfortunate ponder token, but not the end of the world here. Now we can go ahead and just cloud cover plus mental block this. Pay the 1. Prevent all that damage. And then we can just tap Lessons Past here. Maybe put back some prevention in the deck, maybe like the Suture or something. But we've pretty much fatigued them at this point, as long as we can live through the Striders comp or the Greaves combo here. So it's maybe what they're trying to set up. Could very well be the case. Ooh, Ominous Respite is nice. Go ahead and block with our Fiddler's Green. Maybe just give them like 1 Scour here. Depending on what they do, we could even potentially like end up scouring if they end up playing like one of these like future sites or whatever. I feel like a lot of flexibility potentially here. All right, let's go ahead and just keep blocking, I think. Seems reasonable. Okay, they have a consign, sure. We'll go ahead and just pitch the Overcrowded here. Stay nice and healthy. And I think we might even be supposed to play this now, just so that we just pad life till we use the resource floating. Just in case it ends up being like awkward on a future turn, I feel like getting the 2 life gain there seems fairly reasonable. All right, looks like they're maybe digging to try to set up like the big gun on a flash turn. So we'll see how big it ends up being. They do notably have how many Astral Bridges left? I feel like Astral Bridge is generally like one of the ways that they can typically go the widest. All right, but let's just keep blocking here. All right, so they are going to go for it here. Okay, high voltage, sure. So this is like a spell Cilio that's just using Gone and Flash, which is really interesting. I feel like this kind of deck actually gets really good once like Victor ends up leaving. Maybe that's like kind of the sell for this deck is like it ends up being like really good once Victor LL, so you can be like a little bit more low to the ground with like the attacks. And it's looking like a pretty big turn from them though. So very scary. Let's go ahead and just take a little bit of arcane damage here. Just so we can like play out the stack shelter. I think I might not even be able, or I might not supposed to be the one, or I might not supposed to generate a float here. Ooh, and they hit a discharge off the top, very nasty. Let's go ahead and take this damage. I don't think we're still dead here though, fortunately. We are going to be taking a lot though, because this discharge off the top is going to be representing a lot of damage. But we can soak a lot of this up with like the mental block and stuff, so might not end up being that bad. We can actually like third eye and just try to draw into a card to block if we want to. Kind of nasty. So maybe we just pop that now. Okay, I think that ended up kind of working out here. So see how, oh, they have another discharge, crazy. Okay, sure. Might be getting like triple discharge here. That could be a possibility. All right, how many more Gauntlet Flashes do they have? Surely they're almost out. Okay, they are in fact out. That makes sense. Cool. All right, so we survived the Gauntlet Flash turn. Now we just need to live through the rest of the game, which I mean, we're sitting at 14, so we're not doing like that bad, and they do have 12 total cards left in deck. So I think we're chilling here. Let's go ahead and Oscilio preemptively here. Just like this card, this Ominous Respite to turn it on. And yeah, I think this seems reasonable. So we'll go ahead and pay the 1 here. Just try to stay nice and healthy. But yeah, I think I got like mostly thrown off by the Entwined Lightnings. I think the rest of this deck makes sense. It's just like a Gauntlet Flash combo deck that's doing like the spell Oscilio thing. I think that seems like probably like the most likely outcome here, or like the most likely thing I'm playing against here. All right, let's go ahead and Sigil, Ominous Respite, and then just AB3. Okay, it seems like they're maybe gonna give up on the back of that. So let's see what they had left. They had 2 more Gauntlet Flashes, Aether Player, Astral Bridge, Chromatic Refinement. So I think what their deck ends up wanting to do is it wants to be like a Gauntlet Flash combo deck that also has like the big spell Oscilio thing. So I feel like this kind of deck actually gets like I think this deck actually makes like a lot more sense to me now. Like this is the Oscilio deck for like when Victor leaves. I think is like kind of what they're going for. So like very much like a combo Oscilio, which I think is like really bad into Victor because Victor has like a lot of tools against it. Um, but like that, you get to like once Victor like leaves the meta, you can like attack on the ground a lot more easily, which it kind of makes sense. So, very cool Oscilio deck that it actually seems like maybe like the most likely meta Oscilio build, but I guess we'll kind of have to see. All right, let's go ahead and see if we can get one last one. All right, playing against a Jarl here. So Jarl is probably going to be one of those matchups where we want like the full package here. And I think we want like some number of D reacts. Maybe not all of them. Maybe all of them. Let's go ahead and just play all of them. We don't need the pill for those, but because those are just for gravy. It seems fine. Let's go ahead and roll like this. So it looks like our opponent is on AB3, so we do need kind of our red tap lessons to kind of get over the top here. I feel like this is kind of like the deck that we maybe want to try to beat with the Infinite Oscilio is like just kind of like these very slow kind of dirtily decks. All right. Funny enough here is that we're not going to actually be able to like most of our hand just like blocks 10 on this because we're not really like gaining extra life here. All right, we can go ahead and deal them a little bit of damage though. And then just like play out these 2 sigils here. We could even like pitch the Ominous to gain like 1 extra life, but I don't think that's worth. Let's go ahead and just take our net 2 damage here. I guess we did get our first flow online, so it's not like a total wash. And then for here, let's go ahead and maybe just like attack in with this Ripple Away. And then just try to like Arsenal the Sigil here or something. Get another flow online with this Nebula Duality just to kind of have some flows to kind of like smooth out our future turns. Get a little bit more incidental value. That's why I really like the blue dualities in this deck. I think they're just very easy to like low opportunity cost just put in your deck, and you can often just get the random ping throughout the course of the game, especially early on. All right, let's go ahead and just put this sigil on Arsenal. I'm gonna draw it. Okay, they have a Command and Conquer, which is a good card, but fortunately we do have the way to dodge it here. The only downside here is that you have 2 Synchros in hand, so it makes it like a little bit more awkward. But I think we'll go ahead and just take the damage here just so we can like threaten the tap lessons past. Maybe take a blue out of their hand. Let's see what happens. I guess we do also get to pitch this heart, which seems pretty reasonable. So we are kind of threatening at least a blue or a yellow from their hand. We don't need this tap lessons fast to actually resolve because we don't really have too many threats, but it does mean that if they want to like keep their entire hand, it's a little bit more awkward for them. All right, lots of D-reacts here, which may or may not be a good thing for us depending on how many CNCs they see. And oh boy, it's another CNC. Okay, maybe a little concerning here. So I guess we're going to be losing the react in Arsenal, but that's not the end of the world. Surely they only have one more CNC, right? Okay, so we'll go ahead and take the loss on that one. I don't think that's too big of a downside for us, though. They have two CNCs out of the way. They have one more. Okay, this Oakenold we should definitely be able to deal with, though. Assuming that they are dominating it, which is likely. All right, looks like they're going to opt for the shield. Oh, they could have sent a third Command and Conqueror. It's terrifying. In this case, let's go ahead and maybe just sync to try to find like a better threat that we can send with them. Let me go ahead and get rid of this Oasis for now. Then we could just like play the Stack Shelter just to get a little bit more flow gen on, which I think is reasonable. Go ahead and just like get it out of our hand for now. Okay, looks like they're gonna pad their life total as well with the fruits. So we should still be kind of in a fine spot here. Let's go ahead and maybe just like discard this Consign to Cosmos just to get a little bit of extra Volzar value here. We can just play this out and then do Shock, Volzar, and then just like Nebula Duality. They can just AV3 this, but this is mostly like a value play, I feel like, to just kind of cycle through a deck a little faster. Oh, it looks like they have double Root Bend as well. Feels like maybe not the best thing to be running into us. Like if they're on like a bunch of D-reacts, that's probably a very good sign for us. Okay, looks like they do have the fused Oaken, which is a bit scary. But fortunately, we can kind of just like dump our entire hand here. So maybe we don't have to actually be too worried about this. So I think we can respond to the Oaken trigger on the mental block, right, and like pitch away our Tome of Quandaries to the third eye of the Sphinx to just draw a random card here. I think that seems worth. I do have one Oakenold out of the way, which I think is pretty big for us. So we'll go ahead and pass here. So we'll make the Ponder, then we can respond to the Oaken trigger. Or sorry, we want to hold on. Oh no, we can't actually respond to it. We can actually respond to it with Oscilio. Oh, we can Oscilio, and then we can discard the Sigil, play the Sigil, and then we can third eye. Okay, I think that was the line I was trying to do. It's ended up not actually being all that good because we just drew into like a cloud cover. But I guess we can like just use this for pitch on the strike twice. Which again doesn't really do much for us in terms of fatigue value, but maybe it takes a blue away from them for like tempo purposes or whatever. Again, we're kind of trying to get to the point where we can just do the Save the Thought red tap lessons path combo because they do only have AP3. Okay, it looks like they're even gonna just eat the strike twice there. Seems good for us. Let's go ahead and just pass on the Ripple here though. Okay, another fused Oakenold is scary, but we can persevere here. We could even consider popping Storm Striders, but that feels like it's like a little early. Yeah, I don't really want to just like lose Storm Striders outright. I think we maybe just like block 3 and just let them take like one of these random cards and just see what they end up doing. Or see what they hit, because I think we're like kind of fine like arsenaling any of these, right? Doesn't really matter which one they hit. All pretty good arsenal targets. We can just like go ahead and just like pass back Arsenal to Burn Bear. That is 2 Okins out of the way, so that's like some of the more premium threats. They also don't really have a ton of Earth in the graveyard, mainly because we haven't been like attacking into them, right? Right, so here comes the Shield Beater. Maybe we just end up suturing this just to kind of pad the life total by 3 here. We can like Arsenal we can pitch stack the Save the Thought for kind of like later in the deck, I think is reasonable. They are pitching a Felling as well. It seems like they really don't have like a ton of the Earth cards that we want to like actively put in the bin. Like, I think they didn't have like, they pitched an Everloom Life earlier. Like they could have like Sprout Strength or something, but there's not actually like a ton that they can do if they like, if we don't attack into them, right? It's kind of the big downside for them. Okay, maybe expecting another Mangle here. Yeah, that's pretty good. But we can just go ahead and cover this with the Sink Below. Okay, so there's their second Earth card for Fusion. Ooh, and they have a Pummel as well. Okay, that's a little bit scarier. So we could actually just like double Burn Bear them here. I don't think that's unreasonable. We take 14, but we get to send 12 at them. Maybe we don't care though. Maybe we're just fine like losing a Tap Lessons Past. I think that makes sense. We'll just go ahead and like discard a Tap Lessons and a Burn Bear. So we do also know that they're on some number of pummels, it looks like, so you do have to be a little bit careful. Right, go ahead and send in our Burn Bear. Again, we're still kind of walking down the life totals here quite a bit. I'm not too concerned, especially knowing that they do have some number of reacts in their deck. Okay, Winter's Bite should be easy for us to make the most of here. I'm gonna just pay with the Scours just so that we can float a little bit extra resources for the Oasis and the Omnis here. We could even consider using Oscilio to make a Ponder token, like cracking it to try to draw blue for a Burn Bear on our turn. So does this actually work? We have Ominous plus this. I think this works if we pitch the consent. We do need to like draw into a blue though is the big thing. So this Ponder token actually has to be like semi-relevant. If it's a red, this gets a little bit more suspect. Okay. So maybe got like a little bit punished there. I think this like still kind of works out right. We have to pitch a little bit more awkward though. Like pitch the Consign to Cosmos. And then we can just like Oasis this, I guess. Maybe I think we could have actually used our Plutonic Star Plate to maybe make a resource there. Maybe I missed that. That's still fine though. Go ahead and just pad the life total a little bit more here. Alright, we do have another pummel and pitch as well. Seems like they're maybe trying to set up some kind of pitch stack on us. Alright, go ahead and pass again. Still a pretty interesting game, I feel like. I feel like they have been pretty aggressive in the sense that they just get like have had a ton of dominate in CNCs, but like once they get past those, I feel like maybe we're able to kind of turn a corner. Okay, more dominate, sure. So we can suture this though. This isn't that bad for us. Let's go and just discard the suture. And then we also get to get a lot of chip damage in here, which is fantastic. And then the extra resource can be used to just pay for the static shelter here. Kind of just keep our flow generation alive. That's why I think the flow generation like is important, even though we're like not really using it in a way that's like the ponder value I feel like is kind of real because you do just get the ability to like ponder into like D-reacts or just like random big spells. I feel like you do actually get a lot of value from the ponder tokens in this deck, which makes it kind of cool. It kind of almost feels a bit like Icelander, but like not really. It's like Labubu Icelander almost. All right, pitching a sink below just to kind of keep it in the deck, sure. This hand is kind of bad, but we can like go ahead and just like block a little bit here. Oh, we do need to avoid getting hit by the Frostfang though. It's like maybe we do have to. I shouldn't have Arsenal. Why did I Arsenal as Warmongers? Probably a mistake. That's okay though. We will persevere here. I guess we can just like block here. Block a little bit of damage just so we get to our Save the Thoughts, and I guess we can like play out the Warmongers or something. Yeah, I'm not sure why I Arsenal this, but I guess we'll just get it out for now. I guess it makes it so they can't like gauntlets us, but I don't think there's really much else that Jarl wants to be doing. I guess like Winter's Bite or into something or whatever, but probably not the whoops. Probably not the best arsenal there. Kind of just autopiloting. Okay, Frostfang and a Rootbound Carapace. So let's go and play out our Cloud Cover. We get to basically just like dump our hand here, which is kind of nice. And then we can Suture at Jarl, Bolzar, and then try to get the Strike Twice value. They do have 2 reds in their hand, so I think we're always guaranteed to be able to ping them here with the Nebula Duality. Then we can just resolve the Strike Twice and kind of clean up the rest of the damage here. So we take 2, going out to 21 to our Jarl opponent's 25. But then we're also dodging the last Oakenold, so like I think we're actually kind of chilling here. Go ahead and just pass back. We did find our red Tapless its passive. They don't have like any prevention or a way to kind of block out the Tapless its pass. We should be able to kind of punch through here and just kind of start putting back some fun instants. So I think we probably would want to put back maybe like a Suture first, just to make sure we're not like dying to random arcane damage. But we could just like shelter this for now. All right, Mingle, Plow Unders, one other unknown card in hand. But yeah, the fatigue endgame here just feels like very, very strong, even with decks that are running like AB3. So you need to find like some way to prevent this to actually stop the on-hit, which is why like red Tap Lessons Past I feel like is kind of a necessity into these like more grindy decks. Notably against like Skull Cap, it's like a little bit hard to kind of resolve the Tap Lessons Past, but you can kind of like walk down the life totals to kind of get around that as well. So let's go ahead and put back. Either put back like a Flow Slide. I still think I'm kind of leaning towards the Suture though, just because it's fairly strong, and then we can follow up with Strike Twice here. Kind of just want to like they're probably gonna be able to AB most of it. It looks like they actually weren't able to, but the reason to play the Strike Twice is just to like get blues out of their hand so that they're not able to play like their power stuff, right? Okay, this is a pretty good felling. I guess it's not. It's still only coming in for 4, so it's not actually that good of felling, right? But we do find our first. Do they not want to? Okay, I think they do want to decompose that, which is fine. Go ahead and just bottom. I think this Flow Slide can probably just be saved for the late game here. Then we can just go ahead and put the shelter on this to kind of just save our life total a little bit. And the nice part about the Save the Thought is it does make a Ponder token. So we can maybe like ponder into something good, or we can even actually just activate our third eye and see if we draw into like a 0 cost. I think that's pretty reasonable here. We at least get like a look at the ponder token and see if there's anything worth getting here. So let's go ahead and buy back the red lessons, maybe a Strike Twice, and then maybe just like a blue lessons just to keep blues in the deck. Let's go ahead and keep those in, and then we can just third eye and draw a card. See what we hit. Oh, Flow Slide is actually kind of perfect here because we get to send 2 value and then also make a flow. Seems like mildly annoying for them to deal with. Okay, we still get to like just take blues out of their hand, which I think is kind of what leads to them not being able to like play pummel at us and stuff like that. Okay, we got a shield beater. Still want to save on to hold on to this like red tap listens pass. So let's go ahead and just like block 5 here or 4 here. Gain a little bit of life over the top. Kind of surprised they didn't ever bloom first, but I guess that is a choice they made. Like they need to like start doing like the. I guess they maybe didn't have anything they wanted to buy back. Maybe like Winter's Bite would have been worth it though. I don't know. Let's go ahead and just play another tap. So what are we getting back with this tap? Maybe just like another suture. Just so we can avoid dying here, I think is important. Could even buy back like a flow slide, or we can just get another save the thought. Maybe we'll just get another save the thought just so we're like making sure that we don't end up fatiguing, which I don't think we are. There's like some random things that could happen. Maybe they like pummel a save the thought out of our hand or something like that. Or like not able to play it. I don't know. All right, let's go ahead and let's just block with like the strike twice here. See what they do. Maybe they have the last, or I think it's second to last pummel, right? I think they are on 3 pummel. So we can go ahead and fake this. I'll save the thought on top is not bad here. I think we do want to like actually like ponder into that, so we can maybe just like bin the Oasis here. The reason I think we want to activate Celia is just so we like make a ponder token, just sort of like drawing into that. That's my idea. But we are keeping the life totals fairly stable here, so as long as we have like enough buffer, they should kind of have a hard time killing us. But we'll go ahead and just arsenal that. Save the thought now. Okay, and another felling. Sure. So I think for this one, they do have plenty of earth. So we're probably gonna end up like leaking 4 on this, just so we can go like save the thought into like Enian Surge, and then I think we can just like bottom the suture for now. I think we just want to take like a little bit of damage here, just so we make sure that we're like resolving our save the thoughts. Then overcrowded on top. Is that good? That actually might not be terrible. It's just like a random arsenal. So go ahead and take 4, and then we're going to be pondering back into that overcrowded, which is pretty sweet. The nice part about Save the Thought is it does actually turn on our Bolzar, which is why I was debating like making like a Waning Moon version of this deck. I feel like the full Zark version just ended up being like a little bit better. So let's get our red tap, and then we can maybe just get like another strike twice seems fine. Let's go ahead and submit that. We can go Volzar into red Enian. Just keep being a little bit annoying and keeping the flow generation going. I feel like I try to treat the flows more as like a value. Like just like a random way to kind of like generate value over the course of the game.
Bruh.
They're not really like these like powerful things that the deck needs, but it's kind of like just like a nice to have is the way I think about it. Let's go ahead and just like pay with a red tap lessons pass just to keep in the deck. Then we can go ahead and block with this overcrowd here. Take 2. But then we also just get to go infinite with the taps again, which is kind of nice. There's that CNC that came back around, so I think they still have like 1 more pummel that's like pretty close after that CNC, unless they shuffled at one point. Which I don't think they did, or maybe they like... No, I don't think they shuffled, unless I'm misremembering. So let's go ahead and save the thought. Put back a bunch of random goodies here, so let's get back maybe... Get like a blue duality. I kind of want like some number of blues. Like blue duality and maybe like an Enian, a couple Enians, just to kind of keep the flow generation. Maybe just Volzar tap here. And we're still sitting on our Storm Striders for like the turn where we eventually kind of go for the kill. So we kind of just have like all the time in the world to kind of figure out how we're going to kill this Jarl. It almost reminds me of like, I don't know if y'all are familiar with like the Nadu decks in Magic, which were ended up being like a nightmare, but this kind of reminds me of just like a bunch of like Nadu dirtling. Not much of a Magic player now, but I've like heard bad things about that card. And just like the game states it creates. And this kind of almost feels like that, but like kind of in a weirder way, I guess. I don't know. Go ahead and just cover this up here with the Static Shelter. The big downside here is they do also just have the Carapaces that are kind of clunking up their deck. Let's go ahead and maybe just... We don't really have to get like max value out of this Onion Surge. We can kind of just like play it out and just force a blue. I think that seems reasonable enough. Like, we're not really in any rush to kill them at this point because we basically kind of have infinite value and or damage in our deck. Oh, they want to break the Plutonic Starplate. Okay, interesting. I guess that like kind of makes sense. Maybe like breaking the Storm Striders like also makes sense though. I don't know. All right, let's go ahead and play our Tomo Quandaries, which lets us draw a card with the third eye of the Phoenix, or the Sphinx. I like mix Sphinx and Phoenix somehow in my brain. Okay though. Let's go ahead and just play out this Onion Surge. Should let us make another flow here. All right, perfect. I'm like halfway tempted to just like discard this mental block just to get it out of my deck, but I feel like this could matter in terms of deck density, so maybe we shouldn't do that just quite yet. I feel like there's also a point in the game where maybe we want to start considering getting back like Burn Bears or something like that. Could be good. Very curious to see what they end up doing on this crumble turn. Like, do they want to maybe like frozen it at us, or maybe just want to send like a big felling with Dominate or something? Makes sense. Let's go ahead and maybe just bottom Cap Lessons Past here. I think we just like full cover here, basically, right? Like, discard the mental block, play the cloud cover, do all the things. So start with the mental block, discard the Oasis, just pad our life total even more here. And Oasis, and then cloud cover, because why not? This also lets us actually activate Third Eye if we want to just try to draw into something random. So preventing the full 9 there. Then we can just kind of take a look and see if we can draw into any goodies. But we do have a strike twice, but we can't play it, unfortunately. Yeah, which is fine. Strike twice, I feel like a lot of the time when you're doing like the save the thought kind of endgame loop is just kind of like a block card. That's like also like kind of, oh, we were so close to drawing an Onion too. Let's go into Arsenal Onion, I guess. I don't think it matters too much. But the nice part about the save the thought loop is it does like add cards to your deck in a weird way. Like you can kind of go card positive with it, which is kind of crazy. And then you just like block 6 on everything your opponent does. Because you're only at like need to play the one red tap lessons pass. So, like you can like block with the other 2 cards that you like buy back from the save the thought. All right, so let's go and just give them like a Warmongers here. That seems fine. Okay, they do have a pummel here. So we go back down to 12, which is like kind of fine because we do want the life totals to be kind of like evened out. And then we can start here by... Do we actually want to... I think we want to maybe use a flow here just so we get a random ponder. So discard the consign, and then we can Bolzar, play out this Onion Surge. Which I guess we're not going to get the tap out of, which is fine. I think we want the ponder more than we want the lightning flow here. And then this will turn on our strike twice as well, which is really nice. Okay, and then we can maybe punish them here, because it looks like they wanted a pull tunic just to pay the 1, so they might have to end up giving us a blue here anyways. All right, so we put them to 11. We have all the pummels out of the way and all the Oakenholds out of the way. So I have I don't know how they win the game from this point. It seems like very difficult if they don't have like a remembrance or something to like buy back a bunch of cards. But they should basically do it here. So we can go Fate Foreseen, bottom that. Then we can like discard this Suture. And I think we want to try to like pop this Ponder with the Sphinx so that we can like draw a random card. Something. Didn't really think this through. Do Sphinx to pop the Ponder, draw into a random blue so they can play that. Okay, I think this ended up working out. So I think while they're kind of out of resources here, we might as well just like get the chip damage in. It's like this weird, like non-deterministic, deterministic win con, if that makes sense. Yeah, but against like decks that are just really slow, I feel like this deck just kind of like stomps them really bad. It's kind of similar to like the Refractor's Iggy. I guess it's like a little bit less flashy than that though. You're kind of just like sending the same arcane damage spell over and over again. Oh, we did actually. I forgot that we were tapped. That doesn't kill us though, because we still have another Save the Thought in the deck, but that might have if I wasn't paying attention. Okay, so we can still Save the Thought this back. But yeah, that's something you have to be a little bit careful is in the course of playing this deck, if you get bored, you could very well misplay it and potentially hurt yourself there. Okay, this is still fine though. I think we're just gonna try to dodge the Frostfang here by playing like the Ominous and the Save the Thought at the same time. So we'll go ahead and Save the Thought in response. We'll buy back our 2 red tap lessons passed in here. So 1, 2, and then we can get back. I think we have like enough blues in our deck where we maybe don't have to worry about this, but I guess we can like buy back like a random duality. That seems fine. And then we can just respite this. Sure. I think that ends up working out. So we're still kind of in, or we're still fine here. We still have the other Save the Thought as like backup. So I think even now we should still be okay. They do have like the Terror Senders, which might be like a little bit scary, but we should be able to dodge those, I think, fairly reasonably. Especially with Storm Striders. Like they won't be able to, I don't think they can have a way to like deny us the tap lessons past, I guess. They only have 1 Earth card in bin 2, which is kind of bad for them here. It seems like a lot of their Earth cards are maybe like, oh, Earth cards you kind of like don't actively want to play out. You want to like block with them. So that might be another point in our favor here. We are getting like a little bit low on cards though, so we do have to be like mildly careful. All right, let's go ahead and block with an overcrowded and maybe. I think we can afford to get rid of this like blue tap lessons pass probably. Just go ahead and give them a little bit of value here. All right, then we can go ahead and just tap lessons past at them. And then because they have AB3, we're just like slowly chipping 1 over the top every turn. So let's go ahead and get back our Save the Thought, and then could even just throw the duality at them. I don't hate that, honestly. We are kind of also walking them down to like Storm Strider's range, so like could even send like a red tap lessons past at instant speed at them. Kind of just get some value in that way. It seems like they're even going to give us a disable on top of that. Sure. Okay, we'll keep walking down the life totals here. So I just give them the Warmongers. Maybe the mental block as well. Mental block. Like each of these tap lessons paths are basically doing like 1 damage, assuming that they AB3. And then our deck is 2 Save the Thoughts at this point. Or sorry, 1 Save the Thought, bunch of blues, and then it's red tap, I guess. I guess we might as well like go ahead and third eye the Sphinx here just to see what we draw into. If we draw a Save the Thought, we can like maybe play it out on top of it or something. Let's go ahead and just tap here. Just keep tapping. Tap until they die. Alright, looks like they do have a resource thing with look here. Or maybe they're just using it for AB. I was kind of worried about Oasis. I guess this deck like maybe does lose to Oasis, but I feel like a lot of people just like don't play that card right now. Alright, go ahead and skip the Arsenal here. Now we should be able to use this unyielding grip at some point here when they try to go for like a terror or something. Alright, so let's go for unyielding grip, block here. Do something like this, I think. So we can like play out the heart, play out the tome quandaries. Get rid of all the cards. I think we can even get back like a burn bear or two at this point. Let's get back our 2 red tap lessons past maybe like 1 burn bear. Just so we can have like a threat to kind of like close the game here. So go ahead and pass on that. And then we can like third eye of the Sphinx to just draw into like a random threat. Okay, we're probably not going to end up arsenaling that just because we want it as a blue. We're going to try to dirtle our way into a victory here, though. So we get 2 ponders, which is good because it means that we get to like arsenal our best card. And then we have the tap lessons pass, save the thought combo. So if they are only able to like present 6 here, we kind of just end up winning. Can we kill off of this? So they have 2 floating, unfortunately. So we can't kill them just yet here. But we can get pretty close. So maybe we just want to arsenal the burn bear. We take 5 here. I think this still ends up being fine. Then we can basically like kind of sculpt the perfect deck here. So save the thought. I think we want to buy back like some random blues here as well. If we can help it, like maybe a red tap. Maybe even like a strike twice. Let's do like strike twice, duality, and then do I guess the red tap lessons just for redundancy. Then we can just do Volzar, tap, and I think we should be able to just kill them. I think we should be able to just kill them with the lesson here, or the burn bear into strike twice or something like that. This is kind of what I mean by it's like a non-deterministic win con. It's like you win the game eventually, but you kind of have to like figure out what series of cards gets you there. And then we'll get back our save the thought as well. It's very like non-intuitive. But I guess burn bear is also just like a decent win con. So this hand I think kills, right? We have like 9 arcane damage. If they make any game actions, they basically like lose on the spot. So they're pitching a red here. So if they have a blue in hand, do they survive? Potentially. We do have to be careful about this red tap lessons pass, though. I guess let's find out if they just have a blue. Because I think we can still kill here, right? So we Storm Striders in the Burn Bear. And then I guess we just like figure out what they do from here. So can they survive the Burn Bear is the question. Okay, they do have a blue. Oh, but then the strike choice kills them. Sorry, I thought like for some reason that they could like double AB, but no, they can't. It's okay. So I think we like always have lethal there. But yeah, that's basically the combo, I guess. Like red tap lessons pass, let's save the thought. Kind of just a funny thing you are allowed to do, but I don't think this is something that you should do, given that I feel like a lot of the better decks in the game are like especially like once Victor leaves are going to be like the fast decks, just because they're able to kind of like beat these more like random like fatigue strategies and also just like be aggressive and just have like the high roll potential and stuff like that. I think like Victor leaving is going to change the meta fairly drastically in my opinion. Might end up just like opening the space up to be a little bit more aggressive. But yeah, that was the Save the Thought combo. Hope but yeah, anyways, that was the Save the Thought tap lessons pass combo. So if you want to go grief your armories with it, don't blame me when people get upset. All right, but anyways, this has been the Fatigue Oscilio list. So again, special thank you to Melora for kind of inspiring me to make this pile of garbage. Anyways, I think this is like a fun deck if you want to like just, I don't know, mess around and maybe like bring it to an armory or something. But I don't think this is like super competitive. Maybe like with some future support, a deck like this can be good, but I'd kind of question whether or not that this is like a deck that you really want to support. It kind of just seems like it's a deck that like kind of stomps on kind of like slower or more reactive strategies. And then it kind of just gets run over by like more aggressive, like good numbers decks. So maybe it's good that like some kind of deck like this exists so that like counters other fatigue decks, I guess, is maybe like a way you can look at it. But I don't know. It's just like kind of a pile of generics, which is like kind of par for the course for a lot of these fatigue strategies. But anyways, thank you for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. And a special thank you to all the folks who decided it would be a good idea to give us $2 on Patreon. We really appreciate the support, but it's obviously never required.